Good morning. Here we are, the first Sunday morning of the rest of our lives, for me and for everybody else. If you know me, you know what happened last week. You know that I was pretty much dissed and told to stay out of it and stay home because of an emotional support animal someone had that they thought that, yeah. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Real Entertainment News. Anyway, the church ruled that the emotional support animal had more right to be there than I. They made no accommodations for me. This week they lied about me quite a bit. I am not surprised. If you know anything about me and my story, you know that I came out of a quiverful church and it was the most horrible experience of my life coming out of it. 2 years in which I cried every single day because somebody was lying. This, I'm kind of almost shrugging it off at this point. But I do want to go through a few little steps. If you're going through recovery from something like toxic church, there are some things that you need to know about recovery. Hey, Kentucky girl. Hey, Star Lily. I am having trouble breathing. This is a hangover from last week's extreme severe asthma attack. Um, Aaron, no, they're not. They told me to leave. They told me that they were not willing to accommodate me in any way, shape, or form. That hey, Nitwit, that the lady with the emotional support animal was the woman whose ADA accommodation they were going to cover, not mine, even though mine is pretty serious. And I've, in the past, had the pastor up there. He believed me. He saw me almost die from a reaction about like I had on Sunday. So he knew. He knew. Yeah, Aaron. So, yeah. So I'm just telling everybody the one church in Tamarindo that speaks English is not safe for anyone. The church is almost dead now. When the pastor left, when they ran the pastor off for stupid reasons, they started putting their own little rules in place. They did away with my ADA accommodation that the pastor was magnificent about maintaining. And Aaron, I wish he could practice here. I did go talk to a lawyer this week. I could probably sue, but I just don't want to feel, I just don't want to go through that. Here's the thing about suing somebody. Listening, KJ, paging, KJ. Here is the thing about it. When you sue somebody, you are almost getting in bed with that person or organization. You're part of their life, they're part of your life. All kinds of things will be said about you, all kinds of things happen. I had an employer that I sued for my ADA accommodations. And while I won because the ADA people were taking care of the case, it was terrible. I would never go through that again. I mean, they even had harassed some of my former coworkers into giving statements. It was ugly. But by the end, I won. I won a financial settlement. Not only that, I ended up filing just about everything you could think of on this particular doctor that I worked for. And he eventually ended up losing his license. But that was more for the fact that he was giving out pain pills like M&Ms, and we were all trying to stop him. So, digging deep into my Pentecostal teaching, shouldn't Jesus be your emotional support person, church? Yes, 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 Nitwit. That is what you would think. If this had been a straight, quiverful, or evangelical church, that woman would have gotten the evil eye and the talk. She would have gotten the talk about Jesus being our emotional support animal. She would have gotten the talk about how having emotional support anything is demonic. It's all not trusting Jesus. And while I have no problems with anyone having an emotional support animal, in theory, cue looking at one of my cats over there. I'm not about to put my cat or the iguana or anything else on a leash and take it to church. I'm just not going to do that. I don't even know who you're talking about. Rachel Oates. I didn't lie about her. She did say the word fiction. She said the word fiction on her review. And here's the thing, Debbie Pearl's book is not a fiction. If you're here to fight with me, I'm just going to go ahead and block you because I have no interest in fighting with you or anyone else. This is what happens when people who aren't raised quiverful, who were never part of the quiverful movement, try to dissect it. The vision is fiction, but the book is not. A lot of those stories I actually know where they came from. That's how deep I was in there. Some of the stories in her book are not fiction, and she wrote it as a nonfiction. So I think calling the book fiction is it's a dangerous thing. It is a very dangerous thing because when you can call a book like that fiction, you are diminishing the influence that book has in a bad way. Instead of saying, oh, this is a ridiculous book, it reads kind of like fiction. When you say the book is fictional when it's not, you're doing a disservice to everybody reading it, everybody stuck in that cult. That's what my problem was with the entire thing. Nitwit, and that's pretty awesome. You know, but here's the thing. I wanted to talk a little bit about recovery steps. Recovery is not linear. So don't let anybody tell you that your recovery has to follow step A, step B, step C, and it has to take place over a certain period of time. That's not the truth at all. Recovery is not linear. You may stay stuck in a stage of that particular recovery for a long, long time. And that's fine. We're all human, we're all different. And we're going to disagree about things. I'm just going to say that. So if anybody tries to put you in that recovery is linear box, recovery is kind of like bouncing, those little super balls we used to get when we were kids, they're rubber and you throw them around and they're going all over the place. Recovery is like that. And there are going to be days when you go backwards. There's no other way to explain it than that. Recovery is really nobody else's business but your own. So if you're in a church community that's trying to insert themselves in your recovery, that's not appropriate unless you ask them into your recovery. If you ask them to come in and help you, that's a whole different ballgame. Recovery, it takes a while. I mean, it just does. My own recovery took well over 2 years to even get past the point where I could talk about it without crying. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, I will tell you that. And those of us that are out in pieces, we have to help others. I think that's part of our recovery and healing is when you can actually reach out and help somebody else who is struggling, because it's a lonely journey. It is a lonely solo journey. You might have people helping you sometimes when you want that, but for the most part, just know that a lot of this is going to come down to your own self. Don't listen to the lies of various churches that will tell you that you don't go to therapy. There are a lot of churches that are completely anti-therapy. They refuse to deal with any kind of therapists at all, which is really wrong, because there are some really great Christian therapists out there who can help you. Just like there are a lot of really great therapists who know all about this. They know all about deconstruction. Don't be afraid to examine what it is you believe and see how you line up with the cult and how you don't, and how long it takes. The C word, I should say, the bite model word. When you're dealing with this, obviously, you're not the same person. So your beliefs are going to change. And that's okay. You don't have to have anybody else telling you that your beliefs are wrong. It's perfectly fine. And that's A-okay too. Don't feel guilty about needing time. Don't feel guilty about having physical needs that you have to meet first. It's not a race. You're not in a hurry to get anywhere. You want to do the things that you do that dig deep. So that's really all I can say about that. As you can hear, I am Wheezy today. So I'm getting ready to go into my sewing room for the day and sew because I can't do much else. We have people coming over to use the hot tub very shortly. Our elderly friend who sometimes comes to use the hot tub. I did want to say in the end of this video on recovery that I've been doing a ton of research the last 2 days. One of the people involved in the situation I'm in has got, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm just going to call her the worst scammer I've seen in my life. Worse than anything KJ's done. This woman has got a long criminal history and she's jumped around from community to community like our friend, but she, instead of it being online, it's in real life. She's opened 12 different schools and things have gone haywire. She's here now running a school. And there are a lot of parents that are just livid with her. I think she's about to go to jail or else because she's going to court in August. And I'm going to go watch that trial. Let KJ go watch Josh Duggar. I'm going to watch a real life scammer. And I've been taking notes. Um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, what do you do with your ESA when you fly? That's what I'm really curious about because I know some airlines now say that you can and some say that you can't. It just really depends. Um, you take her to the Joann Fabrics and the yarn shop. I'm so envious of you right now that you have both of those places. I don't. But when I go to the States, which I'm going to go to the States in July, guess what I do? I go to both those places. I keep an empty suitcase. That's all I loaded up with the crap I buy. So I'm going to go ahead and go because I have guests coming over, like I said. I say my husband just pulled up. He went to church this morning, telling me he wasn't coming back. So I'm kind of curious to hear what they're all going to say. They're going to blame me. But you know something? I don't care. Y'all have a great day.